and welcome to BestLiquidHerbs.com. My name is James Costello, and I'm visiting with Carl Robinson and Joan Robinson with Cedar Bear Naturals. Carl is the founder and co-owner of Cedar Bear Naturals. He is a clinical and formulary herbalist. Joan is also a co-owner of Cedar Bear Naturals and is a traditional herbalist. Carl and Joan, we'd like to thank you for allowing us to come and visit with you. And we'd just like to start out with a few questions that our audience would be interested to find out.
Let's go to it.
So Carl, why Cedar Bear Naturals?
It's a good question. Cedar Bear Naturals is about innovation. We do things differently. You might say we think outside the box, while the rest of the industry adheres to an old 150-year-old model. We respect those models, but we've taken that information and that approach to herbalism and brought it into the modern world with proprietary technologies, a unique model that we use, and the end result being products that not only work, they actually taste good.
I understand that Cedar Bear is known for a lot of firsts in this industry. Joan, what are some of the firsts that Cedar Bear's been the first to come out with?
Cedar Bear Carl developed the formulas for the first children's line of liquid herbal products.
That was commercially available. Nothing had been commercially available before for a full line of formulas.
The first liquid herbal product line for pets, and the first liquid herbal product line for horses.
Now, Joan, I heard rumor that you've had a little experience in the horse industry. This is one of the things that you take a lot of pride and joy with in the pet lines?
That's true. That's true. We've had people, and how it all came about is that some of the original formulas in Cedar Bear were children's formulas, and they were very, very effective. And some veterinary clinics started using and purchasing our children's products, when we called them up and said, "Excuse me, are you selling to children or animals?" And they said, "Oh, we use them for our cats and dogs. They're fabulous." We said, "Oh, wait, they have special needs." So we reformulated some of these very effective formulas for cats and dogs specifically. Then we found some people were starting to use them for horses. We went, wait, horses have special needs themselves. So then we developed, with a lot of research, a horse line out of that, and we call that an equine line of herbal products.
All right, I know that the industry's been begging for this for a long time, so we're glad to see that happen. Now, Carl, what's this thing about Tink Tract?
Well, Tink Tract is a term that I came up with clear back in 1982 when I first developed the first generation Tink Tract process. As we say, it's more than a tincture, it's more than an extract, it's a Tink Tract. So what our product has is all the qualities that go with a passive, cold, extractive approach, as well as an active, supercritical, aggressive approach. Because one side of the processing gets out things that can't take heat, that have to be gentled out, as we call it. But there are a lot of things like polysaccharides, certain oleoresins, and certain aromatic components. They don't come out in a cold, passive environment. That takes heat. It takes a more aggressive approach. So this combination of the passive and the aggressive is embodied in the word Tink Tract.
Oh, great. It's a neat term. Now, most of the industry that we're going to find out there when it comes to consumers, a lot of them are kind of rookies. You know, they've never had herbs before, and they kind of go in there and go like, "What's an herb?" You know, as far as they're concerned, it's kind of like just weeds out there that you're collecting. Of course, we know that it's more than just a weed that's out there, that there's actually properties in those that we're trying to get out to put them through this process so that we can get those properties. And so there's different techniques from what I understand, and one is most common in the industry is using alcohol.
Yes.
But you guys don't use any alcohol.
Never.
So tell us the difference. Why is that important?
That's a good question. Alcohol versus glycerin. There's a lot of assumptions that have been made around alcohol. A lot of the thoughts and feelings of competitors out there extends back 100 to 150 years, when early researchers concluded that alcohol was a better extractive medium than, say, even glycerin. They recognized glycerin had good qualities, but they settled on alcohol. part of the reason for that was they treated glycerin like alcohol. You can't do that. Glycerin is a much more versatile extractive solvent. You can do more with it. The foods, the beverage, and the confectionery, you know, the candies industry, they all understand this. If you go into their literature, or you ask any master chef, flavorist, or blender out there, they will tell you that glycerin is much more versatile and you can do more with it. It gets out a lot of unique flavors in a way alcohol doesn't. It takes out certain nutrients and other food components. Many of those components have qualities very similar to that found in the medicinal corrective constituents of herbs. So we can make some pretty general assumptions there concerning glycerin versus alcohol. One of the other things that I found out in my early studies too was that alcohol denatures and renders inert many of the very constituents that are being sought for and extracted. Why extract something if you're going to end up with a denatured or the alcohol renders it inert? Some of those components that are denatured is aromatics. Another one is enzymes. Enzymes are rendered inert.
Meaning that they're there, but they're not doing anything.
That's right, they're there, they're not doing anything. Another one is polysaccharides. There are many polysaccharides that alcohol has a crystallizing effect on. This is why alcohol cannot be used to extract certain mushrooms, fungi, and products like that, because the shell, it's called chitin, is a cross-linked polysaccharide. And alcohol, not only will it not break it down, it will crystallize it and make it much more harder to get the constituents out. Glycerin doesn't do this. There are many other similar types of qualities that glycerin has over alcohol.
Let's ask another question about glycerin, because that's really a big fundamental difference that you have that a lot of the other manufacturers have. Now, there's different types of glycerin. Like, I remember as a kid, you know, in the cowboy movies, they had nitroglycerin, you know, and they'd make a big bang. Of course, we're talking about different glycerin there. There's some people out there that have no idea what even a glycerin is. My mom used to put little drops of glycerin in my ear. What are the differences in glycerin?
Well,
compared to what you use as well?
Well, the drops of glycerin that your mother put in your ear is exactly the same kind of glycerin that we use. The difference is it an animal byproduct sort of glycerin, or is it a vegetable glycerin source like we use? The glycerin you use is fully kosher certified. So it's a clean glycerin. It comes only from vegetable sources. And so that's very important when you're talking about the end quality of a product. When you talk about nitroglycerin, we're talking about where glycerin has been included in certain chemical processes with other ingredients thrown into the mix, and you end up with something different. A good way to look at it is sodium and chloride. By themselves, extremely toxic, you know, and both can kill a person. By themselves, as pure elements. But when we put them together, they become something completely different. Completely different. They're nothing like their former singular selves. They now actually have a benefit to the human body, to living tissues, and they're gentle. Now, a lot of times, chemical reactions like putting glycerin with nitrogen and other components, it makes it totally different from what the former components were. In this case, it's a dangerous explosive. So we're talking about just some basics of chemistry. Pure glycerin is what we use. We never use alcohol at any time. Many companies out there are selling their products that have glycerin in it, and they're saying that they're alcohol-free. Well, that product is alcohol-free, but it was still processed with alcohol. So we coined a term called true alcohol-free. In other words, we never use alcohol at any time, because I don't want to get a constituent out and then realize, oh, it's inert or it's been denatured.
And that makes sense. Now, obviously, this is the most important part of extraction, but even more than that is the actual product itself. What we're extracting, the herbs itself. Joan, what kind of herbs do you guys? Where do you source your herbs? And I understand you've sourced some on your own ranch here before.
We've grown some here. We get them from all over the world. We're very, very picky about our sources and making sure that they're pure, that they are what they're supposed to be, and that they're free of toxins.
Oh, that's great.
Some places in the world that is an issue these days.
And that's become a big concern. I know in the health arena, people are always talking about the sprays and the chemicals that they're using to grow vegetables, fruits, and things like that. And now they're down putting water on oranges to save them in Florida. You know, so obviously there's lots of things that we try to do.